Booyah. What's good with it, man? Let's see who taps in. Gonna ball up here, huh? A little bit. What's cracking, everyone? Booyah, man. I decided to go live on the public platform, man. What's good with everybody out there? Let me see who's chopping in real quick. Sacramento, what's good with it? Rich DM65, good morning. Cuvile Flax, what's up? Flax Sound Fran 415er. Beautiful Queen here. Let me see what's good with Mr. No Name 1994. Cuvile Martin G. IE's checking in. Tim Hennessy, I see you, brother. Sin City Vanquish, Big Flacco. Orale, Big Flacco. I see my man. I'm just tapping in with you guys, man. You guys watching the football games or what, man? Rest in peace, Chente. Which Chente passed away? Let me see. Let's go. Cowboys already they smashed on Washington, huh? Was it 27-14? Oh, Chente Fernandez. Yeah, I seen that. I forgot about that, man. My cousin's gonna be all depressed. She was in love with him, man. That's right. Yeah, I'm just chilling, man. Eastside San Jose's up in the house. I thought some other Chente passed away, man. You guys have me tripping. Vicente Fernandez passed away today. Big D, David, man. Happy birthday, brother. Vicente Fernandez. Yeah, that's right. Niners next. I'm not even paying attention to the football game. I don't know about you guys, but usually last year the football games were good. This year, man, it's just fucking it's no good, man. These games ain't too good right now. Fischler, how you doing, brother? Let me see who else is in there. Deep Etta, Flacco, friends, good day. That's right. Tin Man. He said Vicente Fernandez, rest in peace. Beautiful Queen, happy birthday to Big D. 44 people tapping in. Now I decided tapping a little early, try to push a positive message. Oh, 27-20, Washington coming back. Oh, hell no, you're bullshitting. Let me see. Like that already? Iron Bear, 707, sending love, man. Hit that like button. 51 people tapped in, man. Let me see what's going on, man. Let me see if I can pay something. Let me see. StreamYard, if anybody wants to tap in, tap in. Let me make sure that's the right link. Oh, yeah. I just watched that new movie on what was it, Netflix, man? With Sandra Bullock in it. I mean, whatever her name is. You know me, I get words twisted up. Appreciate it, man. You know what, man? I'm just trying to stay positive message, Rich. You know what I mean? There's so much negativity. There's so much, you know what I mean, people concerned with what others do, or people just have to comment or say something, man, just to, you know, puff out their chest or just to make a point or just, you know what I mean? I'm not worried about all that. It's kind of irrelevant to me, man. You know what I mean? Whatever I do, I do. Whatever I say. You know what I mean? And it's just all going to be positive. So if I give things attention that don't warrant it, I'm giving it life. So who cares? You know what I mean? A man fixed his truck. I turned 44 years old, man. P&G News Media, what's good with it, man? Or P&G Media News. Okay. That's the homie right there. M. James, I see you, bro. I'm not worried about things like that. Sometimes people read into things too much, or they want to put their interpretation of it, or they want to twist things up. So sometimes people say certain things, or people post certain things, and people think that they're referring to one person. But you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't always, you know what I mean? I don't let nothing bother me, whether it is or isn't. It doesn't. It's kind of irrelevant, man. You know what I mean? I can only focus on what I do, not what the next man does. So It's kind of irrelevant, if you get what I'm saying. Kind of waste of time, waste of energy. I got more productive and positive things to do. Like, you know what I mean? I won 2 games. She won 1. Let me see who's tapping in. I can't see nobody. Hey, tapped in. What's going?
Hi, how are you? Congratulations on your birthday.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
That's awesome, that you were talking about having fun sober. I
Yeah,
did that.
yeah. Me and the wife had a lot of fun. You know what I mean? It was all positive, productive. No, you know what I mean? No BS, no hating, no drama, no nothing. You know what I mean?
No going to jail.
No going to jail.
For sure. That's awesome. I used to do that, for years and years and years, go camping, whatever. It was pretty cool, but I made a conscious decision, that if I wanted to go to Iran and get bombed once in a while, I would.
Hey, let me ask you a question, right? You got a little echo though.
Oh, I
Let
don't
me
know
see.
what.
So you went to prison. What did you go to prison for?
Burglary.
Burglary? How old were you?
41, 42, something like
Oh
that.
wow.
Yeah, I definitely had an issue with those press pills, the fentanyl.
Oh,
I
okay.
peed a few times and didn't stop me. I had to get Narcan 6 times once.
Okay.
Uh, that was stressful. Look what I have. It's a jackrabbit doggy. Look at them ears.
That's
She's
right.
she's only 8 months old.
Yeah,
So
your echo's pretty bad.
I'm sorry. I don't. Let me see. Come here, crazy. Come on, crazy. Get in here. There, good girl. Okay, we can try it in here. Still?
No, you're better now. Well, nope. There goes back again.
Oh crap. I don't know why I don't have any I wonder if it could be the furnace. Oh well, God bless you all. Wanted you to see my crazy little dog.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'll tap out.
All right. Cool. Cause it's hard to hear the echo. All right. Have a good one.
All right, thank you. You too.
Let me see. Damn. Stay up. Years of abuse. Funk life. I just got a message right now from someone. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Man, let me see who's Iron Bear. What's good with the Iron Bear?
Oh, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Man, just chilling, man.
Yeah. God damn, I had to watch my Raiders get smacked this morning.
No, man, you guys doing bad, man. Washington fumble. Cowboys got the ball back. Okay, I guess Washington's going to win this game. What's good with it though, man?
This morning, how you doing this morning?
Man, just trying to come in with with a little bit of energy, a little positive, no negativity, no bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
You know what I'm saying? Just a
Yeah,
positive push. You know what I mean? In the morning, just checking in with everybody, seeing how everybody's doing.
yeah. Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yep. Happy late birthday.
Hey, I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, no problem. What did you end up doing for your birthday?
Um, went out to eat at some what do you call that, hibachi or whatever? I don't know, man. One of those places where they cook the food in front of you.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
man, it was bomb. I had some some steak and some shrimp there, and what I mean, some sushi. Sushi was bomb. And then we went out to go play some pool, and then afterwards we tapped into Dave and Buster's and we played some games till about midnight, and then came home.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? So
Nice little night.
we
Night
kind
out
of
the
winged
wife.
it. We kind of winged it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
We
what's up.
don't always get to go out. You know what I mean? Because we got kids in our life, so it's hard to sometimes have a date
Yeah,
night. So it's kind of cool to get out.
that's good. That's good.
How you been though?
I've been good. I've been good, man. Hanging in there, chilling. I watch watching football. They ain't going good though.
Hey, these games suck nowadays. They're not even fun to watch, man.
Ooh,
This has been one of the worst. This has been one of the worst football years I've ever. You know what I mean? Like last year was pretty good, and the year before was pretty good, man.
Yeah.
You know, this year, man.
This year, man, it's boo boo.
It's boo boo. You ain't lying, bro. You know.
Yeah. What's wrong this morning?
Huh?
I said, what's up with Earl this morning?
Well, I haven't even talked to him yet.
Oh no.
You know, I haven't talked to him. Let me see, Flacco. Did you get recognized in public? Not for a while. You know what I mean? I'm pretty far away from, you know what I mean? Not too far away, but not close to, you know what I mean? I'm a couple states over. You know what I'm saying? Without putting where I'm at, I'm not close by. So a lot of people out here probably don't watch the channel, you know what I mean? Iron Bear lost 100. I don't forget that bet. Who'd you bet? T-Moss?
I lost you know what? Your season's not over yet.
Oh, so I never bet. I didn't bet Iron Bear, man. You know what I mean?
No, I bet wasn't Team Moss, it was Rich DM.
Man,
I betted him that the Raiders was gonna end up doing better than the 49ers at the end of the season.
The last 20 years have been boo-boo if you're a Raider fan, and that has to be the truth, man. The last time they did good was when they went to the Super Bowl. What was that?
Oh boy, ain't lying.
2003?
2.
Right? They had a good year that year. And then, okay, look, you guys were pretty good at what, 2016, I think?
Yeah, we were decent, yeah.
You guys,
right before
the end of the season, Derek Carr gets hurt, and then you guys fucking you lose to the Texans who don't even have a quarterback, bro. That was fucking sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was bad, though.
You know? Well, you guys gave away too many of your players for free, though, bro. You know
it's like that's what they do. Oh, he's gonna be good. He got the potential to take us somewhere. All right, get rid of him.
Yeah,
off top every time.
So do you think you guys need to keep Derek Carr, or are you guys done with him? You think?
I'm still on the fence with him. Like, you know, one thing that we do need to do is get some more weapons at the receivers. You know, regardless of who we bring in there, we're gonna need some weapons. You know, we got no receivers. They get any space.
We got the homie PNG News Media up in the house, brother.
Hey, what's up, Big Flacco?
What up, big homie, brother?
I'm cool.
Hey, since we got you on, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, of course.
What is your opinion on that situation with the video we did yesterday about Doc Holliday testifying for the Aryan Brotherhood and all that? That kind of shocked me a little bit, so I didn't really have an opinion on it.
That's why I wanted to tap in. I wanted to first say that the post I left on y'all page, it wasn't at all trying to attack you and Rojo. I was just commenting on the content. I wasn't, I don't want you to think
I didn't even see the comment. I didn't even see the comment.
Oh, okay. But as far as that, see, how do I say this diplomatically? I don't want to waste too much time speaking on Doc Holliday.
I got a phone call coming. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna tap out for a minute.
Okay.
What he did was rather disgraceful. I mean, I've talked to a lot of old timers about that, and some of them say he would never even be welcome back in California for what he did. Others who kind of still side with him have come up with excuses. Oh, well, the DC blacks were so rambunctious. He took the side of the AB over them, but there's no excuse for that behavior. You would never see an AB or an MA testifying against, doing something like that. You know what I mean? You would never see the AB testifying against on the side of the BGF against a Nazi lowrider or something like that. I mean, it was just downright disgraceful. There's no excuse for it,
Yeah, it's one of those situations, man. Like, that's the one thing. Like, me and you've had discussions about this. The BGF history is one place. The origins, I don't have the answers for. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I think I was on live the other night. Someone said George Jackson started the BGF, and I told him no. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And that's the whole. I think it was I was like, no, he never started. He was part of the Black Panther Party. certain things they may have adapted in his ideologies, but basically the BGF started probably around what, 1970, 1971?
Yeah, between 71 and 73, somewhere around there. Because what it really was, the BGF was just during that time in the CDC, blacks were at the bottom of the barrel. And so it was just a few of them who would fight. So the BGF was just really the forming of the older generation, that 1% that would stand up, and the younger generation, that 1% that would stand up. You know what I mean? So anyone who's saying that George Jackson or the BGF started in 1966, it just isn't true. You want to see one piece of information from the CDC where they mention the name BGF before 71 or 73. So they didn't exist.
Yeah. No, I didn't even see your comments. Every time you put a comment, I probably highlight it all the time. So sometimes YouTube takes comments down sometimes. I don't know if you put something in there that they may have flagged, but you're welcome to re-put any comment on there just so people can be aware and I can highlight it.
Yeah, I was just commenting on it. Basically, I just said what I just said. I just mentioned that the BGF didn't exist, and the AB didn't form in retaliation, for protection of whites. The AB was always a criminal organization. I guess it must have been Rojo. He had just said, we're just reading the article out. And I just said, oh, please don't think that I was attacking you guys. I was just attacking that, that false narrative that continues to go around.
Yeah. Hey, East Bay, NorCal, appreciate that. Yeah, there's a whole lot of different information that goes on, man. That's one aspect of, man, what we want to do is we want to try to get someone on, if you have any resources, someone that could, or you can come on. I want to get some more information about the BGF history, bro, so the information can be more accurate, put out there from someone that was a member, or someone that they don't have to expose everything about the organization, like its rules or regulations, but just to give us some fact-finding history about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's what I've been trying to do. I've been talking to old timers, and I'm saying, come tell the history, because you guys are old. You're not going to be here around much longer. This needs to be documented, because if y'all don't document it, others will, but they're going to document it from their point of view to push their agenda. So if you want the real story out there, you guys need to tell it. Like one guy was telling me, he said, well, what we went through was so bad, we did what we had to do. We didn't want to remember this stuff. We wanted to forget this. I said, I understand it was harsh times, but that history needs to be known. So it's an uphill battle getting guys to talk about that type of thing. You know what I mean? So there's a couple of more books coming out. Like one is going to be called, I think it's called The Rise. What was it called? The formation, the rise, the deactivation of the BGF. And this is supposed to be telling about how the BGF was only really supposed to be around for a short period. It was never really supposed to be the organization like the MA or the AB. It was supposed to be just to do what they had to do at that time and dismantle.
Yeah, from my understanding, the original BGF was more of a radical movement. It was never supposed to be no recruiting organization in the beginning. Right. You know what I'm saying? It didn't align to certain like rackets and certain atmospheres on the main lines. It was more of a anti-establishment, anti-white establishment in the prison system. You know what I mean? And because a lot of them were basically groups like the BLA, the Black Panther Party, different groups that were out there at that time that were.
I apologize again, you guys. I got to tap out. I'll be in the comments now.
Right. That were part of political movements and. I guess like anything, once you start to get structured or organized or you start to have a recruiting pool, I guess you start to have people that start to align their ideas of what they feel is best for their group. You get what I'm saying? And who were the main two that created the split within the BGF?
Well, from my understanding, it was largely Doc Holliday. Because like I said, he wanted to take it more in a gang direction, like put drug dealing into it. And the other guys didn't. So that's kind of where the first split occurred, from my understanding.
Yeah. So do you feel, okay, let me ask you something like that. How many people from that former life do you feel like that I know you interact with a lot of these old timers, right? Mm-hmm. How many of them do you feel are actually political prisoners based upon their beliefs? They were railroaded by the system because of their political parties at that time.
Well, that's a really good question. There's a handful of them that work. I mean, a lot of them work just regular street cats who get radicalized in prison, who got awakened in prison. But I think there's a pretty good number of them who are still being held way after they should have been released. So in that sense, quite a bit of them are political prisoners. I mean, these guys who got suitable for parole 20 years ago that are still being held. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you've got people who've come in after them with far worse charges, who've been in, get out. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you something right now, since I got you on there. We talked a little bit about Yogi Pinnell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you feel the CDCR had a lot to do with setting him up in that situation?
I think they had something to do with it. I think placing him on that. This is what I've heard, that he was placed on a yard where there weren't a lot of any BGF or a lot of BGF sympathizers. That's what I've heard. I can't verify that. I'm from Chicago, for Merrill. But that's so I've understood. So honestly, I think they may have had something to do with it. But my thing is this though: if it was a well-known fact that okay, the AB is out to get him, and he's on this yard where there's not a lot of protection, why didn't the blacks take the initiative and strike first? See, there's a lot of stuff that bothers me about that. If you're saying, oh, the CDC is out to get him, well, then you need to force the hand, be on the offensive then.
Put some security blankets, put some protection on the old man. That's what I was kind of thinking. You know what I mean? Like, even if you align with any particular group, you would think that they would have put bodyguards on him just for the base. You know what I mean? I don't know how I don't know how his last 15 years were in the shoe or how he was. You know what I mean? You know, he was old, 71 years old when this happened.
Right.
You know, and but this is what people don't realize, man. And me and you had a discussion off, on the phone, right? And you have people saying, okay, yeah, Yogi was a cell soldier. A cell soldier doesn't consist of somebody that talks about something through the door, but when that door pops, he's going to do exactly what he tells you he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That man was by far no type of cell soldier. You know what I'm saying?
He put in work back in the day.
If he told you, hey, when I see you, I'm putting some steel up in you through the door, and that you're nothing but a punk, this and that, he really means it. And when that door pops open, he's going to try to get that ass if he really feels that way. The same way with correction officers. So that didn't make him no cell soldier, because the man would back up exactly. So I don't know if he was doing that, whether he was or wasn't. I don't know. It's not the old school convict way. But if that door was going to pop open, the dude was definitely about that business. He was about that action. You know. Anyways.
So yeah, so I've heard that say, oh, the AB killed him because he was a cell soldier. I mean, one, I really don't believe that. Like I said, them guys from back in the day, they just carried themselves. They were cut from a different cloth. They didn't carry themselves like that. And second, even if he did, it would have been protocol to say, okay, you guys handle this. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't have been on the AB to say, okay, this is one of y'all acting out, breaking the code, cell soldiering. You all take care of y'all dirty laundry. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's the whole thing about what people don't realize is the thing about California prison politics. For those that are out of state, to understand prison politics in California is you align to a particular group, whatever it may be, and therefore any type of decisions or removals or any type of act that goes towards that particular group is supposed to happen with its own kind. To lay hands on someone that's part of another group is the declaration of war. Straight up. There's no way around it. You know what I mean? If a northerner has to go for whatever reason that he did something in there, drug debt, burned someone, disrespected someone or whatnot, that's not going to be on a white, black, or South Sider to deal with it. The northerners are going to deal with it. Same thing with the South Siders, same thing with the whites, same thing with the Africanos. But where things happen is when a certain group starts to feel disrespected, and it's called prison politics, and they start to dialogue with each other. Well, your person did this. We want you guys to deal with it. When you feel that your people have been disrespected and that particular group doesn't deal with it, that's when you have a conflict of war. That's why you have so many racial riots, because certain groups will feel disrespected by something, and if your group doesn't deal with it, then they're ready to get off over it. Right. You know what I mean? Someone wanted to know, can PNG find information on the poem, What is a Familiano, that a BGF member wrote for an NF member?
Interesting. I'll ask some old timers about that. I'm not familiar with that one. That's from Amin 2112. Okay, I got you, bro.
Senor Rojo's in the building, man.
Hey, what's up, Rojo?
I decided to tap out from the what do you call the football games to come on live because I can't go live at night sometimes. I get too busy at night.
Okay,
You know what I mean? So what's up with your channel? What you got coming next?
You know, I'm still trying to get some more interviews. Now I've been kind of laxing ever since my first channel got deleted, starting over. I just haven't been putting a lot of effort into it. But I got people have been asking me for some Chicago interviews. So I got a couple of those coming up pretty soon. Talking about Chicago prison politics, well, Illinois prison politics rather.
You know what I think you need to do? I think that you got the resources, man. You need to interact with more other particular groups that are out there. Like someone just mentioned someone that did where's it at, man?
Oh, he's talking about, he told you to watch that Kev Mack video about Joe Rockhead. I think I've seen that video where he's talking about his experience at the Crip with the BGF and how he pretty much spoke ill of the BGF. And there was a lot of conflict between the Crips and the BGF. So, I mean, it's an interesting video. I actually had a chance to speak with Joe Rockhead at once. He's supposed to be coming out with a book because I was trying to interview him. Yeah, for me, there's still some in Oakland. I wouldn't say it's a big influence, but it's still a presence there from my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always been a presence in Oakland. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think there needs to be like someone that needs to tap into that BGF history. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And push that line. But it seems like they're so secretive about their past.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely is. Like I said, when I talk to guys, I'm like, look, I'm not trying to find anything out about the organization that I shouldn't find out, but just that whole era of that politics that was going on is what I want people to talk about. Like I said, I'm not interested in any codes or anything like that, but just the history of what went down at that time. I mean, that was a very turbulent time. It's always being told from the perspective of the MA or the perspective of the AB, and never from their perspective.
What did you think about? What's your take on this? Yeah, you know what's bad about the situation with Yogi? Me and PNG were talking about it. Is it happened in August, Black August month?
Yeah, that was right.
Yeah, so that's like the biggest disrespect that possible because that's a month that usually homage is paid in what you call Black August month. I remember when we were in the whole oil in Quentin, we would have all kinds of tournaments, celebrations, spreads, and everything with the African brothers to pay homage to those sacrifices, man. Let me ask you something. What do you know about the San Quentin Six?
Yeah, the San Quentin Six. There was some really serious guys. Like I said, they really took a stand. I think it's only like one or two of them left alive today, but yeah, them guys were serious. And see, that's what I mean when you talk about that group. They were really not trying to control the prison economy. They were really trying to take a stand against the establishment, what was going on. I mean, you had white guards torturing blacks, and I mean, it was really bad time. So that's what they were really against, trying to fight the prison establishment as opposed to other prison racial groups. Yeah,
they did have a represent. They also had some assistance through the Mexican Mafia at that time too.
Well, they had like two guys, Telemontes, and I think another one who assist them. And that's something else I want to find out. Was it really the MA per se assisting them doing it, or was it just those two guys who had a relationship with George Jackson? You see, that's what I mean. I don't think it was necessarily a real. That's what I would like to know. Was it really the MA as a whole assisting them, or is it just those two individuals?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, Matt. I know some people that knew those individuals, and one of them, they said that they didn't know if they were a Mexican Mafia member or BGF associate. They told me, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? I thought it was comical. I was talking to Bo about that, man. You know what I mean? He goes, man, I never knew if that dude was MA or if he was a BGF associate. So you know, it's just like Cheyenne. Cheyenne used to have interactions with George Jackson for a minute. I mean, in his
Yeah,
files.
right. See, I think that's another thing. Back in those days, some of the lines weren't necessarily as clearly cut as they are now, where it's like really taboo to be working with another group or something like that. Because from my understanding, Cheyenne, he had a lot of revolutionary ideas himself. You know what I mean? He's supposed to interact with the Brown Berets and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be a surprise that he would, you know, associate with someone like George Jackson, you know.
Yeah, most definitely. Know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah, we
What's
did
up,
that.
Sundown?
Yeah, Sundown's up in the house.
Yeah, the channel is the same, Rojo. It's PNG Media News. I just had to change the words around a little bit, but it's PNG Media News.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that article kind of tripped us out though yesterday.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was that was just crazy.
You know, hey, PNG, I know you have some questions for Sundown. You want to ask Sundown some questions, brother?
Hey, what's going
Hey,
on,
brother.
Sundown?
How you doing, brother? Hey,
Give
I
me
owe
1
you
minute.
one.
I'm cool. Oh yeah, we good.
You haven't got back at me, brother. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been slacking off on my. I was just telling Flacco I've been slacking off on my interviews, but I'm gonna get them back going.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheyenne did have revolutionary ideas. That's why he was trying to form a peace, because of his revolutionary ideas. And you're right
Yeah.
about the BGF. In the beginning, they were all about the struggle. The struggle for prisoners' rights, the struggle for the rights of the people on the streets, and not just the blacks, but for everybody. That's what it was about. It was about the struggle. All the time I did in the hole, I did a lot of time in the holes with BGF. And they would school me. You know what I mean? On what they were about, and then they give me books to read and stuff like that, and have political discussions and stuff. But that's what they formed as, to go against like the staff, not just the police there, but also stuff on the streets. To get revolutionary groups, revolutionary thinking people involved with supporting, prisoners and stuff like that. Trying to actually form peace between the prison gangs and stuff like that. Trying to get them to wake up to the fact that our enemy was one, and if we united together against that enemy, then we could change. We could make some productive changes. So you're right there in that, what you were saying about that, and both guys, Cheyenne and also about the BGF beginning, what they were about.
So do you guys think that in general, like the division and dissension that was created was kind of self-sabotage any type of political change in the system?
No, it was staff. It was the staff. Definitely it was the cops. That day in Soledad when they killed the 3 black brothers, that was a setup. And the guy that got the AB who got shot in the groin, that was a ricochet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that whole thing was a setup. The guard was up there. He had every full intention on killing as many black inmates as he could, and he killed 3 of them.
Yeah.
And that thing was set up with the AB. Hey, look, you guys come out there, get a fight going on. We're going to shoot these blacks. And the AB that got shot in the groin, that was just a ricochet that got him. But there was a big old investigation behind that back then. I remember at the time because I was one of the witnesses as far as the investigation was going on about the police and how they were persecuting us and being racist and stuff like that. And they had a Senate. Actually had a Senate subcommittee investigation about those 3 blacks that got killed on the yard because it was a setup, and they ended up firing that cop, the one that shot him. He didn't go. They ended up getting rid of him. That was all set up, man. That was bad. I mean, when you're going to go out there and kill 3 black men in one day, you know what I mean? That was
so that was like a common thing during you guys' time era, was a setups by the cops.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, that's why. Like I tell you about tier exercise, and the setup, where they would put us on the wrong tiers. They would do that on purpose, and then they didn't just do it to us. They did it a lot to the blacks. They did it to us too, and it was always, the odds were always against us, And NF, even though we were forming more, the NF actually started as a political group. You know what I mean? To try to struggle for the rights of the people and stuff like that. That was the original intention, and 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 those cats that started it were ex-MN. You know, they were from the MN, but they were more political thinking. You know, and like you said about Cheyenne, that he was political thinking too. That's why he wanted to try to broker a peace. You know, it was a lot of stuff was going on, and the police. That's when I tell you about that paper that Percunier. Percunier was a dirty dude, man. He was the director of the Department of Corrections. That guy's got more blood on his hands than anybody. You know, he was a dirty dude, and he would write stuff and speak at things, saying how they had to foster this animosity between the group, right? And especially the Mexicans. He said, you know, one thing he was really concerned about was the Mexicans, like the NF and the MA and all the Mexicans coming together, because they would move under the gun. You know what I mean? And if they turned their weapons on cops, you know, there were going to be a lot of dead cops. You know, so they kept that one, fostering that one. And the thing with the BGF, that was just sheer pure racism, man. You know, there was a lot of racism back then. I know. You know, there was a lot of racist shit going on, man.
Oh, nice to meet you too, David Reyes.
Huh?
No, just David Reyes. Nice to meet you as well. I'll just comment on one of the posters.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, you know.
Yeah, so there was a lot of that shit in the beginning. And like I said, even the NF started as a political thing, no. Then it became a criminal organization.
What do you think? Okay, I'm gonna ask both of you guys, okay, because I know. What do you think attracted these groups to start being involved in these rackets? You know what I mean, per se. I know that every cause has to be self-supportive. I know that's always been the agenda of the NF, to self-support its brothers. I'm wondering when did the BGF start to want to get involved in those rackets as well? Was it because I mean, you know, I'm thinking that they're like any other group. If everybody else has a piece of the pie, they want their piece of the pie as well. That's just what I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I know from being there, and when it started going in that direction. High Simu was then in charge. Let's see, that would have been in 1978, 1979. Been then between 79 and 80 is when it started to turn in that direction. And matter of fact, when Earl Satcher got killed on the streets, he was the leader of the Tribal Thumb. It was $5 million involved in here. There was a food cooperation worth $5 million that Tribal Thumb was involved in. The BGF was involved in. The guy who killed Earl Satcher was a BGF associate. You know what I mean? But he was also on his own. You know, so he did that on his own. He didn't do that with the BGF. Didn't put him up to that. They didn't sanction that. It was a personal thing between him and Earl, who had the bigger nuts. You know what I mean?
Who was Earl?
Earl Satcher was the leader of the Tribal Thumb. He was our general. You know what I mean? Even though we didn't have generals, he was our leader. Me and Ricardo London were both Tribal Thumb before we became NF.
Okay.
Ricardo London was more of Tribal Thumb than I was. You know, he was with them longer. You know, Ricardo London was undercover NF for a long time, man, for like almost 8 years, you know, about that at least, you know, that he was undercover. You know, that's a good way to stay undercover, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that it started turning in there. That's when the money was there. There was big money. And then there was a couple of things involving a judge, where a hit was put out on a judge, and by the BGF. It was a member of the BGF who put the hit out on the judge, and the guy, the BGF that was going to go do the hit, got caught. Anyway, so that's when they started really going against them, the police and the administration and stuff like that. They used that as justification for coming against them.
Oh wow!
And that's kind of when they turned, you know. And they said, "Wait, we got to get our piece of the pie," you know. And they were not really fully into organized crime, but they did deal with some drugs. You know what I mean? They did some little bit of loan sharking, a little bit of drugs, you know. And they were more with self-supporting and self-sufficient, trying to take care of themselves. You know, whereas we were all about profit, you know, as well as taking care of ourselves, but about making more, you know. And they were just trying to take care of themselves.
Hey, Mike, have you heard of High C before?
No, I'm not. I've been looking through my stuff. I'm not familiar with that name.
Stephen Browning. His
Stephen
name
Brown. Okay.
is Stephen Browning from Oakland.
Oh, Stephen. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stephen Browning. Yeah,
Is
his nickname was High Simu. He went by High Simu.
Oh, Hashimu. Yeah. Hashimu. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know Hashimu.
that was my brother, man. I loved him, man.
Okay.
I used to mess with this little sister, you know. But
Yeah.
he was a good brother. I loved him. Yeah.
620 Kansas. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, break bread, brother. Thank you. Yeah. So more the BGF was more for self-sustaining, self-supporting themselves. You know, a lot of the members were bulls, you know.
I got along. Okay, look, I got along always well with BGF cats. You know what I mean? Yeah. The only one I never got along with, I think it's not that we didn't get along with, but we had some exchange on paper. Was Sekou from Oakland, Shorty Rollins. You know him?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
You know him? I mean,
I know what you're talking about. And
I mean, what happened was is someone had to go. We were in the hole together. Someone had to go. I had the dude removed, and you know, on the yard you had BGF, you had Kumi, you had Crips, you had Bloods, all on one yard. You know what I'm saying? And so you already know that our security has to be up to par in case anybody does a removal. Mm-hmm. So he got mad because we didn't tell them we were going to remove one of our own.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, we don't even tell our own people when we're going to remove one of our own. Yeah. I told him, you got to put your own security on that. So we were all good, but it was just, there was a, how do you say it? There was a little bit of distance after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I knew cats like, you know what I mean? Like JB and, Knockout, Achille, Ascari, Richie Rich, Ascari from Oakland. I knew all them cats, man. That were all solid dudes, man. It's funny though, man. That dude Buzzard came through Santa Clara County when I was there. The one that got shot in the groin.
Yeah.
When I was there, probably in 2003. Interesting. That dude was an old motherfucking man, bro. Old, brittle. You know what I mean? Little we know he was that big of a AB member at one time, man.
Yeah. Spot was from where he was an AB shot caller too. This guy named Spot.
So
called Spot.
I had a tier name, right? Mm. That I used to go by sometimes, and it was called Flex. So the Jama cats in there gave me a name, and they told me that when you pronounce a name, you put the letter N before whatever it is. That's how. So my name was Enama, which meant kind of meant flex. So you always put it like if you're gonna use like say like a whatever it may be, like knife, like you know what I mean, Kisu, whatever it may be, or whatever, you always put the N to identify a name. Yeah, hey bro, I used to speak that Swahili pretty good, like Habari Yako and Dugu Mimi Paleka Wewe. You know what I'm saying? Okay. You know what I mean? They named Mojo Panda. I used to speak that stuff, bro. I used to be able to shoot your line this way. You know what I mean? I need some, you know what I mean? I need some Kahawa. You know what I mean? I got some Moshi. I used to speak all that back in the days, man.
That's what's up.
And you know, you got time to learn it, you know. But they named me, like you said, put the N before it. Like my name that they gave me was Ntwai Damela. You know, that was my name, Ntwai Damela. And that meant he who greets with fire. You know what I mean? I don't know why. Ntwai Damela. And
then they used to send me all kinds of like radical books, like you know what I mean? Like Blood in My Eye.
Blood in My Eye is one of the best books I ever read.
There was also another one, man, that I started reading all those little books from that one reporter that was a Black Panther from Philadelphia, Mumia Abdul Jamal, I think it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He had some good stuff too, man. I had all his stuff, man. You know what I mean? You know, I had one that used to beat me in chess all the time, man. And he says that if you ever beat me, I'll give you this chess book. And it was a book about how the man beat the computer. I finally beat him after like 10 times, man. He was good old time. Them old timers at that chess were no joke, man. But you know what I mean? I always got along better with the Jamas and the Kumis. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? My experience with the Kumis were either limited, but they were more. Some of them were. It's like this: either half of them were really fucking solid, they were rock hard solid, or half of them were kind of like, you know what I mean?
Hey, Mike, back there where you're at on the East Coast and stuff like that, like the Black Liberation Army. You've heard of them, right? The Black Liberation Army. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Anthony Bottoms was he was the head of it at one time, and I got to know him real good. We were actually cellmates, You know, and he came down to testify in a trial, and we were cellmates for about a month. But and he was telling me all about the Black Liberation Army and stuff like that. You know, and anyway, so our group, Tribal Thumb, ended up getting involved with the Black Liberation Army. You know what I mean? On some robberies of banks and stuff like that. You know, but yeah, it was a trip. You know,
I met a few. I seen their pamphlets and booklets, bro. Because I used to talk to some revolutionary guys. Man, there was a couple in Solano, man, pops in Chicago. A couple were Muslims too, man, and they used to lace us up on all that stuff, man. Like one of them was in there for shooting at the police helicopter. Like some of their cases were crazy, bro. That they were in there for, man.
You know, the Muslims. Speaking of the Muslims, there were some really bad radical Muslims. You know, I mean, quietly undercover revolutionary ass Muslims. You know, and I never forget this one brother. He was a good brother, Muslim brother, and he told me that the way that they were going to beat the white man. And I says, "How's that?" And he says, "We're going to turn his woman loose on him." Yeah. That's when all that they started pushing all that feminism, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, it worked. Yeah. I remember, never forget. He says, "We're going to turn his woman loose on him." You know?
Yeah, different time eras, man. Most definitely.
Yeah, but that's when feminism started kicking off too, though. You know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, Flacco, I want to ask you, how's your book coming along?
Man, I've been so busy with so much changes in my life that I had to put everything on the back burner. And I had someone that I was communicating with, man, that was supposed to help me write it, man. But it's been like, I'm gonna try to prioritize that stuff later on. I mean, I really put it on the back burner. Like, I mean, like, you know, man, that's kind of on me.
Let me give you a suggestion. Get a tape recorder.
Yeah.
What I did was I just spoke into the tape recorder, you know.
Yeah.
And just started talking in the tape recorder. Get that and start like that, and then go back, and that's where you start working from what you recorded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you put it down anyway. It's better than writing. You know what I mean? And you put it down, and you got to record a history of it.
You see that? No. You see that question,
Rich? Well, you know, if they're out here, they're not really doing anything. You know, Chicago's a city that doesn't really like outsiders. Now, things have changed a little bit with the breakdown of the traditional structure, where gangs are more loosely, they're not structured organization anymore. They're more like just loose bunch of cliques and crews. But there's no Northerners, Serranos really out here. I mean, I've heard some people claiming that they're not, like, they don't have any territories, they don't have any blocks that they run. I think if they're out here, it may just be out, like, as far as hooking up drug connections, but as far as like running anything on the street, no, not at all.
Yeah, it's a whole different. Chicago's a whole different beast, but it's like a melting pot, man. I think what correct me if I'm wrong about Chicago. They've gentrified a lot of areas, and that's moved certain people out. And what's happened is that they've moved into neighborhoods that they're traditionally ran by certain neighborhoods, and that's causing a lot of conflict and war out there in the streets, is what I've been told.
Yeah, that's part of it. You know, the city, let's say, a lot of African Americans have left the city, been priced out. So the city is less than 50% African American now. So see, the city's rapidly changing. You got to write, like, the traditional housing projects, like the high rises, they've all been torn down for changing the mixed income housing. So yeah, the city's changed a lot. And like I said, you do have neighborhoods of different groups, even within the same racial groups, that people who used to be within the same street gang, say, for example, Gangsta Disciple, who might have been running things in Cabrini Green projects, but once those projects been torn down, they've been moved into other neighborhoods, and they try to continue their operations. Like, no, we already got an operation here. Y'all can't operate here, so that causes conflict. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of murders going down out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, I'm 48 years old, living in Chicago all my life, and I've never seen it this bad. I mean, I know each generation it gets worse, but the way it is now, it's just no rhyme or reason to it, you know.
Yeah, crazy. It's fear, fear does a lot of things, man. people will strap down because they're afraid, and they'll end up, if you're carrying a gun, eventually you're going to use it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you run around with guns and shit like that, you're going to use them. You know, and especially if fear is a factor. You know, if everybody's afraid of each other.
Who's your football team, Mike?
Oh, you know what? I don't really watch sports much.
I thought you were going to say the Bears.
I mean, if I was going to go with someone, it would be the Bears. I take the hometown team, but
Yeah, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they saying our Raiders suck? Did they lose this morning or what?
The Raiders always lose, bro. What's new? You know what I mean?
Did they lose today?
Yeah, they lost today. They lost bad.
Oh man, who
Mike,
beat them?
Do you think Fort or Hoover could calm the situation if they were free?
You know what? Them two, I'm going to say this with all due respect. Them guys are dinosaurs. I mean, it's kind of like the rapper G Herbo said. He said, anybody under 25, anybody 25 or under don't even know who Larry Hoover is. And that's the truth. I mean, these young guys, they have no idea who Jeff Ford is, who Larry Hoover is. I mean, I was talking to this one kid, and I was asking him, Jeff Ford claims to be a Muslim. His Muslim name is Chief Malik. And I was asking this kid, I said, what's Chief Malik's real name? He didn't know that Chief Malik and Jeff Ford were the same person. And these guys have no history of who those leaders were. That's a bygone era. If them guys came out the street right now, no one would listen to them. I mean, people my age and up would listen to them, but the young guys who are out here doing all this violence, they wouldn't have any influence on them guys whatsoever. I mean, I say that with all due respect to them guys. They were magnificent, powerful leaders, but it's just a different time, a different era. These young people don't have any type of structure, morals about themselves. Them guys couldn't make a difference.
It's the same out here.
So you see that question right there? I wonder if the outfit has the same power in Chicago as it did.
Oh no, the outfit is a dying.
Gone, huh?
Yeah, they were pretty much a dying breed. I mean, especially with street operations. I mean, a lot of them just gone legit. I mean, the street gangs, like for example, Jeff Ford and the Black Keystone Nation pushed the outfit out of South Side Chicago. I mean, at the point of violence. So the outfit, I mean, they're still around, but they're nowhere near what they were in the days of Giacana and all them. Not at all.
Interesting, man.
They're more into legitimate business.
Let me see. Chicago has no structure. I don't know if it has no structure. I think that they pretty much have pushed everybody out. Like Mike says, what I heard, they've pushed people out into different neighborhoods. Therefore, they're competing for whatever trade that they have with their operations that they used to have. The gentrification that they brought, the same thing that's going on in certain parts of LA. They're gentrifying certain areas. So certain neighborhoods are having to move, and they're trying to set up shops in areas that already have their operations going.
Mm-hmm. And then another thing that happened in Chicago, in Chicago, the street gangs used to function like prison gangs, where you had, how the NF had the 14 bonds.
Yeah,
our street gangs had stuff like that. They had literature. You had to know it. The gangs had like generals, captains, chiefs. They functioned like prison gangs. They were highly structured. But when it started happening, they built these federal prisons. They just shipped these gang leaders out. So they couldn't. So there was a time like when Larry Hoover was in Stateville Prison. It was a prison in Illinois. He was still controlling the streets. He was able to have influence over what was going on. But when they started shipping them way out in an attempt to destroy the gangs, what they did, the gangs fell apart. So whereas, like for example, the Gangster Disciples used to be one nation. Now you get like 20, 30 different types of sets of disciples. It was never like that in Chicago, where like in Los Angeles, you had like every different Crip was a different set. No one was leader. It wasn't like that in Chicago. It was one Gangster Disciple nation, one Black Keystone Nation. You know what I mean? So now it's just everybody's like a different crew. You can it's just haywire now.
Look at that comment.
See, the fact that I can walk through Humboldt Park at night and it's nearly gentrification. Yeah, Humboldt Park was the motherland, the Mecca for the Latin kings. It was Puerto Rican and some Mexican neighborhood. But now you see yuppies and he's absolutely right about that.
Look at this.
Wow.
Wow, get on for metal. Maybe he'll
Okay.
give up the shit he took last time.
Yeah, maybe they'll find all your stuff too in there, bro. That's crazy.
That's
Be
crazy.
great.
You know what I mean? That's crazy.
That's good.
That's what they get trying to break in and take kids' Christmas presents and stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
people
Yeah, you know,
Christmas
right?
shit. Thieves should take the time off, man. You know, say, hey, lay down, man. We're running there taking people's shit.
Hey, Flacco, I wanted to ask you this. I think I asked you this before. I can't remember. But you know how when you were in the pen and you all had like these workout routines, that you had to participate in? Say if I came into the joint, I'm lazy, never worked out before, and I couldn't keep up with the routine. What would happen to somebody like that?
If you couldn't keep up with the routine, you'd have to do a disciplinary machine.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you get a little grace period of trying to get up to par, and then if on a main line you're expected to work out. You know what I mean? There's not going to be, if you're in a main line, you're not going to be showing you're working out because you need a security post and there's all kinds of other stuff. You're going to have to find time to work out. You're not going to really be doing burpees on the main line as much. If you do, you're probably doing it in your cell.
Okay.
I mean, you'll do more bar work or something like that in the yard or push-ups and all that. But if you can't get up to par, like within a certain amount of time, you're going to do a disciplinary machine. If you refuse, then you're just going to get removed.
Wow. Did you
You know what I'm
find that most guys, after a while, they were able to get with the program and be able to do the
Most
exercises
of the
and stuff
times,
like that?
you know what I mean? There's been a couple of times where I got there and I wasn't up to par in time. You know what I mean? But as long as you're doing the discipline machine afterwards to get yourself up to par, that's what it's for afterwards. You can't keep up. You're going to do extra afterwards until you can. So instead of you say, okay, this is how it works on the yards. You go to, in the ad state, you go to yard usually 3 times a week. The first day is the first day after ICC is when we have new arrivals. So there's no education, there's no schooling. Okay, so what ends up happening is on the 2 other days, what you're doing is you're doing your workout first thing after the yard secure and whatever you have to do, your daily reports, whatever, you're doing your machine. Then afterwards, you're going to do a little bit of, you may have a little bit of break, then you're going to do klecha, right? Which is education. So what ends up happening is if you're not up to par with the machine, that little free time you may have to, chop it up and play basketball or handball or wherever you may be, you're not going to be able to do because you're going to be in the corner doing machine. So it gives you an incentive because on 2 of those days of the week, you're going to be doing the machine and you're going to be doing education. And that leaves you maybe about 2 hours or an hour and a half of free time. You get what I'm saying? To do whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do, to go out there and play basketball, to take, take a shower in the yard, whatever it may be. So that's just the way it works. Now, if someone starts to refuse to do it, then they got to get off the yard. No one's above the household expectations.
Okay. And something else I want to pose to both of y'all, since y'all in there from 2 different generations. You know how you have this inner hostilities? Thinking back, I want you all, does it seem to you, I know you all for peace and everything like that, but thinking back to when y'all were both active, answer this question from that mindset, that when y'all were active, is this the inner hostilities that the inmate has been fighting for, 40, 50 years, and then that, does it make it seem like everything was just a big waste, that these old timers can just come out and say, you know what, let's end this so we can, get out the shoe. But after all the bloodshed that was shed, the lives lost, people who either got killed or died in prison over this war, and all it takes is for a few old timers to get together and say, hey, let's end it. Did that just make everything seem like a waste to you all?
You know what? I'm going to say this, right? I don't think the NF and MA have really been at war.
Okay.
For like from the 80s on, as much as people anticipate. They have the stuff going on in Corcoran Shoe, right, where they get off, right? But they were basically slammed down around 78, 76. They were slammed down. Then you had undercovers out there, like Sundown out there in the yard. Eventually, they were all moved into sections where they were separated. So as far as all the battling and conflict and sacrifices, that was probably like around from Sundown's time to before Sundown's time is when those sacrifices were made. Everything post, these guys were basically separated at the time. Administration was basically separate. So the ones that were really out there making the sacrifices in war from like the 1980s on, you had some undercover NF members and you probably had some undercover MA members out there. but it became the war that transpired out there in these main lines was mainly Norteño Sureño War. Everything kind of flipped. And I think, you know what I mean, from 80s on, because all the NF members were slammed down. The only time the NF and MA may have done any type of battle was on the integrated yards in Corcoran Shoe.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And most of that was hand-to-hand combat. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure throughout the 80s and 90s, you had certain things where the doors popped open here, or you were put on the wrong yard. Those kind of things happened. But I think once they started opening up Pelican Bay and Pelican Bay was a little bit different. A lot of the main dudes got sent to the bay. And then they already had the door posse that was already implemented. So it kind of changed things a little bit, man. So like I've said this before, from probably the late 70s, 80s, I don't think the MA has worried about the NF, and I think vice versa. But I think it has been a recruiting tool based upon the ideologies. This is your enemy. This is why. And that's basically became the Norteños, Sureños have taken on that plight of war once these NF and MA were taken off the yard. I'll let some down elaborate his views.
Okay, you're right on what you're saying, except that there were still, it ran a little bit into the 80s, into about 80, I would say 84, 85, that actually started where we started looking away from each other. We weren't really that concerned with each other. We were more caught up with internal struggles. But as far as the end of hostilities, does it make it seem like it was all in vain? To me, a war has to end sometime. You know, it's got to end, whether one's victor or one's not. Peace, I'm for peace, and so it's not in vain if it's over. You know, okay, it's over. The war is over. Okay, but what I would do is I would not put down my guard. You know, I would use this time of peace to recruit, to make sure my weapon arsenal is good, and I would prepare my soldiers to get ready. You know what I mean? Because these guys over there, they're doing the same thing. They're recruiting. They're not just laying down. They're getting more and more. And the nature of the beast, that beast, is to gobble up. You know what I mean? That was their nature. Their nature was to take and to gobble up. And until they can prove that that's not their nature no more, like right now, for example, the North is weak right now by what happened with the silent storm thing. It has weakened the North because the main soldiers, the main warriors are right now sitting over here in the federal penitentiary, you know, going to court. And so unless they take this time right now to make some changes, like put the people in that need to be put in charge, do some recruiting, get your weapon stock ready, be ready. Don't trust them. Have peace. Yeah, have peace, but don't. I would not trust. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I believe this comment. I think that's been going on for about 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? To a certain extent.
You can see that, but when it's you walking that yard, you know, and you're in an enemy stronghold, we'll see how propaganda you're going to be. You know what I mean? You know, so I don't know. You know, I'm glad for the end of hostilities. Is it all in vain? No, it was not all in vain. Is it over? I hope it is. But I would not lay down. I would get stronger. I would take this time to strengthen. You know, because if we don't, they're strengthening. Their numbers are swelling. They're not stopping making weapon stock. They're not stopping taking weapons out. You know, so I would say don't. Get ready for war. Get ready for war. Yeah, if you guys can get along, that's great, but get ready. You know what I mean? Because I believe there's going to be a bloodbath soon. You know, I believe that within the next year or so, there's going to be a bloodbath. Next couple of years, there's going to be a bloodbath. You know, if it goes,
I hope that doesn't happen, but I mean, anything's possible.
I pray it doesn't happen. But if organized crime being what it is,
but Sundown, this is and Mike, these groups, let's just be honest here, man, and let's just keep it real, let's keep it 100. These groups have a hard enough time getting along with each other within their own group.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So how are you going to coexist with it? I think that what helps each other, it's easier to get along with your enemies sometimes than it is with your own kind. It's a trip. The political spectrum of things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because within your political spectrum of things, right, you have more expectations for your own people than you do others. So therefore, what your enemy or opposition does, you're not in their backyard. You're not in their politics. You're not worried about it. As long as they don't pose no threat, do what you do.
Okay, now that's good for the North-South. The NF is a criminal organization. It's not a gang. It's a criminal organization. It's going to continue to be a criminal organization.
I agree.
It wants money. It wants organized crime. It wants power. It wants control. The MF is a criminal organization. It wants money. It wants power. It wants control. What they need to do is come together, and their common enemy they need to be worried about is those people coming out of Mexico. You know what I mean? The organized families down there, you know, the mafias down there, they're going to try and take over California. You know what I mean? And so that means they're going to send hit squads. They're going to do all that. And you better be ready for that. You better train your soldiers to be like we were when we came out. You know what I mean? You know, so you better have soldiers like that. And that's what you better be looking for. And that's what you better be schooling. And if the North and South or the MA and the NF could come together and realize that look, these guys want California. You know, they're going to do anything to knock us out of power. We need to be unified. We need to tax all this stuff coming out of Mexico, coming out of Central America. We need to tax these streets. We need to tax them because that's organized crime. That's what it's about. It's organized crime. At the end of the day, it's about organized crime. You know,
yeah, I get what you're saying. We're not going to work for you. You're in our territory. You're going to pay us. You're going to pay the piper.
Yeah, you got to, and you know, because they're going to try and come in. If we're just laying down, picking our nose, holding hands, and skipping together, these guys are going to be in here making all the money while we're not making nothing. You know, well, I say I'm talking as if I was still there. You know what I mean? But what I would be preaching and teaching is that, and I would be training my soldiers to be vicious. You know what I mean? Because they're going to send vicious killers. You know what I mean? Their hit squads are going to have some professional killers. Are you ready for some professional killers? Are you really a professional killer? You know what I mean? You're running around here wearing a red rack. Are you really a professional killer? You know what I mean? You better be ready for them because that's what they're sending. You know, and that's what you're looking for at the bottom of organized crime. You're looking for those kind of soldiers. You know what I mean? The ones that are ready to do that, to go kill 10 people if you have to. You know what I mean? You know, you got to be ready to fight, and it's going to be a war. That's what I mean by the bloodbath, Flacco. You know, that because this organized crime is, you know, they're coming. Those guys are coming from Mexico. They're coming. You know what I mean?
It's a whole different perspective there. That's something that's something really no one's talked about, man. And it's true though. I think it's been happening for like the last 15 years, to be honest with you, 10 years.
They've been sending people up. You know, like I write about that guy that we took in San Jose. Well, I shouldn't have said the name of the city, but anyway, he was dealing big time dope, and he was come up from Mexico. You know, and his pipeline was from Mexico, and he was connected to them down there. You know, but we taxed his ass. You know what I mean? And because these were my streets, you're gonna pay. You know what I mean? You're not gonna just come up here and think you're taking over. You know, now that to me would be a waste for my brothers' lives who died. You know, if I didn't represent that, you know, if I didn't get out there and represent that, then that's a waste. Then my brothers died in vain because this is what we were. People keep forgetting, you know, that this is what it is. It's organized crime. You know, the NF.
The homie Moco, I've heard the same thing, bro. I've heard that they actually have a lot of interactions down south now. There's been like agreements to have certain interstate compact action. I'll call it.
They need to do. You know, they need to be unified against what's coming and what's here, what's already here, and what's coming. You know, because those guys ain't.
And speaking of the NF as an organized crime group, I want to ask you this. I remember in your book, Boxer's book, and a couple other books about the NF, they mentioned about how the NF controlled Chinatown and Salinas. So my question is, where were the Chinese gangs like the Tongs and stuff like that? They didn't have a presence there? Because I always thought that Chinatown was pretty much a closed society to outsiders. So how did NF...
In Salinas, they just called it Chinatown.
Oh,
there wasn't no Chinese. It's not like San Francisco Chinatown.
Yeah, so Salinas is okay. Look, Salinas is like it's not a big city, but it's a decent sized city. I mean, that's away from everything. And it's hard to explain unless you've been out there or been around people from Monterey County
Okay.
that they've been able to raise people throughout the years to just adapt to the principles because there's such a close-knit environment and they've had so many individuals that have had so much say-so within the collective that these dudes that come out of this, it's easier to control a city that's maybe 150, 200,000 that has such a strong foothold and grasp in its communities than it does the whole Bay Area. The whole Bay Area is like a whole big area nowadays. You got like 7, 8 million people, different people in different regions. It's harder to control. Salinas is about maybe an hour away from all that. You know what I mean? It's in a very what you call basically in a farm area. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With a whole bunch of small cities that all align, and they're able to. I always joke around. I say, man, the first words, you know, a kid growing up in Salinas, they can do the 14 bombs when they're growing up. They already know how to make a knife by the time they're 5 years old. And it's joking talk, but seriously, they're well educated because they're born into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all around, and it's just it's like it's hard to explain it. It's easier to control a smaller environment when you have influential members than it is when you have a big environment with just a few influential members.
There's families. There are families there who, like I always say, there are families in certain towns, like he's talking about that size of town, like in Salinas. There are families that are established there, generational families that have been involved in this stuff. You know what I mean? Somebody's got an uncle, a father, a brother, a relative who's involved in this. And so they go that path too. They're brought up that way too. You know what I mean? And the control is there, you know, because of all the blood that was shed at one time there. And it's still being shed there. You know, the control is there. Like at that size of the city, like Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, Oxnard, cities of these sizes, you know. And then like in the Bay Area, like you said, is compartmentalized. You know, you could be in Hayward and you can be in San Leandro, or you could be in Oakland, or you could be in Berkeley, or wherever you're going to be, and concentrate on that. But like in Salinas, with all those little cities around it, a lot of stuff is done in those little cities, you know, quietly, secretly, little stuff is being done in those little cities because there's not as much attention focused on them. You know what I mean? And so you can quietly be in there, and you can quietly have drugs there, travel through there. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised to find out that, like, you know, Soledad, the city of Soledad, you know, that they bust somebody there with $10 million worth of drugs. You know what I mean? You know, and this has been going on for a long time. And like, wow, you know, this little city, you know, but that's because the city, Salinas may be the hub, but they're using these other little cities around there too. You know
That's a long name right there. You guys see that? Bend you down, backs hot. I can't even understand what the hell they wrote, man. You see that?
Salinas has always been no joke. My homeboys used to call it Little Compton.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the one you're talking about?
No, this one. Look at that. Look at that name.
Bend you down, back shots, scum shots, lung shots. Cuba homies. That's a crazy thing. Bend
That's
you
a crazy
down
name right there.
So you said, so basically Chinatown's really not a Chinatown in Salinas?
No, not in Salinas.
Oh, okay.
It may be small, but it's not going to be very influential. I mean, and I think a lot of them maybe didn't have the criminal element adaptation out there. You know what I mean? It's just like
it's not like Chinatown. Put it this way: it's not like Chinatown in San Francisco.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? You know, that whole area is one area where it's controlled, and it'll always be controlled by the NF. There's nobody out there. I don't care what you're affiliated with or whatever particular group or anything. You're not coming through. You're gonna have to pay the piper if you come through. Period. Out there. You know what I mean? Whereas other areas, there's a little bit more wiggle room. There's a little bit more resistance from particular groups. You know what I mean? Nobody can coexist out there without having to have some type of formal relationship with the homies out there. Period. But they're able to have working relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Artie Marin, HCR. It's Chinatown's just basically a little dope spot, prostitution spot. You know what I mean? The railroad tracks. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like a a smaller version of like the Tenderloin in San Francisco, or Skid Row, but it's not as like extremely bad. Just a lot of drug addicts. A lot of everything goes on. Anything that you want action with is going to happen right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
prostitution and drugs.
Yeppa.
Yeah, but those are the size cities, like Flacco said, that you can control. You can exercise much more control in. You know?
That's why Tula, right? Visalia and all those areas out there.
Yeah,
they're
Visalia.
small. They're small. They're small in Portersville. They're smaller towns, but they've been able to have the same type of foothold as like areas like Salinas because they're smaller towns as well, man. Like,
yeah,
I think the biggest city out there may be Visalia, and that's probably about as big as Salinas. But then you have a whole lot of other small cities, and it's the same thing. They're smaller. Therefore, when the gangs are able to control their communities a lot more stronger because they're not as spread out.
Yeah.
And the way that they're doing now, they're giving jurisdictions to certain people in certain cities out there. Just like how in Santa Clara County, they're giving different neighborhoods, different jurisdictions to do what they do. So it's a little bit easier to do those things in the community. Let me see.
That's a cold name, the homie Moko.
The homie Moko, that is a cold name. But the thing is, man, is with these new laws, especially in California, I don't know how it is out there in Illinois. Everything is tied into whether you're affiliated or not with one of those organizations. If you're from up north or up south, and whatever activity that you're doing, it may not be related to any of these particular organizations, but based upon gang affiliation now, what the feds and what these law enforcement are able to do now is they're able to tie you into a bigger picture now. Therefore, they're able to put these enhancements. That's why if you look, you've seen it. We've done all kinds of videos on different indictments, man. This stuff was not going on 20 years ago when I was in the mix, even 15 years ago. So it's worse and worse. You know what I mean? So just based upon you being a Norteño from a street gang, and whether you choose to freelance and do your own thing, or you are actually involved in some form or fashion, or if you're just doing business dealings with these groups, just business dealings, but you're not affiliated. Now they're trying to tie you in with racketeering enterprises, RICO acts, and all this stuff. They weren't doing this 15 years ago. They've been able to establish that in the court of law, that if you're a Norteño street gang member from a certain hood, you are now allied you're now aligned with the NF regardless. And that's what they're able to do now. And they're doing the same thing with the Southern gangs.
And the word is conspiracy.
So even if you're not really affiliated with any big homies or anything, but maybe you're paying your dues because you have to, just to do your operations, or maybe you're somehow affiliated with someone that's dropping you work just so you can make a living in whatever you're doing. Now they're hitting you on indictments just based upon association. And they're able to, and the courts, they try to establish it in the courts that, any Norteño is under the NF umbrella. Any Southern gang is under the MA's umbrella. Therefore, now they can use that as a course of action to indict you on certain charges. You're a Sudanese gang member? Oh, you're loyal to the MA. Oh, you're a Norteño gang member? You're loyal to the NF. And your activities may have nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? You may just be grabbing a little half zip just to make a little hustle, but now you're tied into an organization. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to get any better or any easier on people.
They pass so many laws, like he says, conspiracy is the big one that they get you with. They use that conspiracy, and association. Like when they started doing it, what they did in prison is they started validating everybody on some bogus bullshit. You know what I mean? If you got 3 points of validation, you were validated and you went to indeterminate shoe. And the things they were using to validate people were ridiculous. Artwork. If you had certain artwork, that was a point against you. If you had certain letters and stuff like that, that was a point against you. And there were a lot of people.
George Jackson name on it was a point against you.
Yeah, a lot of people were getting validated who were not even involved in any of that crap, right? And they were getting indeterminate shoes, and they were being forced to drop out and go to a sensitive needs yard because it was the only way they were going to get out of that indeterminate shoe for having some artwork and stuff like that. Okay, but what they learned that they could validate anybody. You know what I mean? They could damn near validate anybody. They could create a validation case against you and throw you in the hole. So what they did out here on the streets is they did the same thing with their laws. Just like they could validate anybody with their rules and stuff of validation inside the prison system. Now they can tie anybody into organized crime with the same kind of setup. You know, I mean, the same.
They were smart about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're smart. They're smart. I mean, look, law enforcement, federal prosecutors, you know what I mean? The federal government, local law enforcement, they found a way to get people on these indictments now, and it's not going to stop. I mean, I could sit there, I could look it up on the Google search, and I could go on Google search and find about 20 cases in the last 5 years that are all street gangs that are somehow tied into the NF on an indictment.
Yeah.
And some of it's all embellished by the judicial courts. Some of it's embellished by the law enforcement to make these people seem like they're more than what they are.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. It's what the system's going to be doing to people now. You know what I mean? So that's why when we do these spills, man, we're trying to bring people's awareness. Okay, what could potentially happen? They're not playing around where you get busted with a gun or you get busted selling some dope to where you're looking at maybe 16 months, maybe 3 years, 4 years. Now they're adding like 15, 20 years on a conspiracy charge because with a gang enhancement. Now you have to prove. Now you have to prove the gang enhancement through that new law that passed and all that, right? Which, you know, it could be looked at as a stepping stone in the right direction. But my personal opinion is you have to do away with gang enhancements. Whatever you do as a criminal, you should suffer the consequences for your actions, not anybody else because you're tied into a gang.
Yeah.
So all they're doing now is they're going to use that as a leverage, as a tool for district attorneys to plea bargain cases out.
Yeah, to flip you.
Okay, we got this gang enhancement, we got this charge on you. Okay. So instead of you take this to trial, you know what I mean? You're going to cost us a whole lot of money. So we're going to do the max on you. We're going to give you 25, 30 years. We'll drop this gang enhancement, but we want you to take 7 years right here. We want you to take 8 years.
Yeah.
So they create laws to sit there as a tool to plea bargain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to build their political careers. You know, a lot of them, it's about politics, right? That's why they become prosecutors, you know, because they're looking at a political career, right? And they don't care whose lives they ruin or destroy. They just want to, you know, build their lives, you know, to have a political thing, you know, because their goal is to run for governor. Or look at Camilla, the vice president.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that girl was. Her whole claim to fame is she sucked Willie Brown's dick. You know what I mean? You know, that's her claim to fame. You know, what was your qualifications? You know, well, I used to let Willie Brown go up in me. You know, and Willie Brown put her on the public payroll everywhere. He appointed her to everything that he could, and given her $100,000 a year payroll, and she didn't do shit except suck his dick. You know what I mean? And then she turned that into her political thing, right? By then she had sucked all the right ones to get the support, you know, and look where she's at, you know. So, and you got district attorneys now that they get in there and they don't care whose life they destroy. Their goal is not to stay a district attorney. Their goal is to be a congressman, a senator, or even governor. You know, they have these political careers in their mind, and they'll use those laws to wrap you up just to pad their. Well, look at me. I was a real gangbuster. I really went after those organized crime things or sex cases. You know, a lot of them like those sex cases. You know, a lot of guys were getting hella sex cases and probably never did nothing, you know, but they didn't care. They wanted that to build their political careers, you know.
Raphael Guzman, appreciate the support on that, man. And so, you know, Mike Sundown, that's part of our channel is, we're exposing part of the betrayals and stuff that goes on with these organizations, which happens, you know what I mean? But more so, we're trying to give people the end game of what can happen outside of that. It's not just what happens within these gangs, the political structure, the bullshit, all that stuff. It's also what you face nowadays with the judicial system.
Yeah. Which
is not meant to cater to convicts or young Americans out there in these streets. It's about oppressing people. You know what I mean? And so we're trying to tell people, wake up. You align with a gang, you do criminal activities, there's a good chance that you're looking at 10, 20 years for your actions, as opposed to someone who maybe out there is doing their own thing. It's the same thing that they tried to do with the crack cocaine epidemic.
Yeah.
They tried to give you more time federally for crack cocaine, as opposed to getting busted with a bunch of cocaine. It was, you know what I mean? It was showing how it was focused on taking African Americans and putting them in the system.
Yeah, because they were more using the crack cocaine.
You know what I'm saying? You get busted with the same amount of powder, you're looking at less time than crack cocaine.
Yeah.
Get the crack cocaine is less pure than the powder that you're getting. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all rock back. We already know. Same thing with, with these laws is that they're catering to get young kids off the streets and give them a bunch of time so they can warehouse them. You know what I'm saying?
When I was helping doing legal work in the pen, right? I went after those gang enhancements and I used to beat them, you know. But these guys would come in there, like one guy had like 229 years, and most of that was gang enhancements. You know what I mean? And it was like it was crazy, you know. But we were able to beat that shit down. But they've strengthened it now, and now look at me. I'm going to court. I'm going to court for helping prisoners and criminals. You know what I mean? Because I was helping them. Now they're prosecuting me for helping prisoners. They're saying you're practicing law without a license. Yeah. I'm not practicing law. I'm helping prisoners. You know what I mean? I'm not telling nobody I'm a lawyer. You know, I'm not charging people money. You know, I take donations. Yeah. You know, they come to me and they say, I'll give you $5,000. I say, I don't want $5,000. If you want to donate to my ministry, you know, you can send $100 here or there, you know, $200 here or there, whatever. I don't want no $5,000, you know, because I'm not going to charge you because I can't charge you. You know what I mean? Because then they could convict me of fraud and shit like that, you know. But I'm not doing that. But now they're taking me to court. I've been going to court for the past year on this crap, you know, and because they don't want me fighting that and helping people like that. But because I know how. But yeah, it's a business, man. We're cows. We were cows today, man. They got the cowboys or the cops go out there and rope them up, bring them in, you know, take them to the courthouse, and everybody's making their piece of the dollar off each cow that's brought in. From the court clerk who's typing up the paperwork, to the court bailiff, to the cop who brought you in, to the judge, to the prosecutor, to the lawyers. They're all making their piece of that dollar that you as a cow generate. Now, let's pass you over to the penal system, where everybody's gonna make more of the dollar off of your cow ass. You know what I mean? The people who built the prisons, the people who are running the prisons, the guards, the free staff, the doctors, the nurses, the MTAs, the plumbers, everybody, all that dollar is supporting all this in the economy. A $5 billion a year business that's in the black. It's not in the red, it's in the black. You know what I mean? Which means it's profitable. You know, just why? Because it's a business. And if you're going to be playing around with crime, hey, they got people ready to go out there and throw that rope around you and bring you in, throw your little ass in there, and you better have money to get out, or you're going to be sitting in prison with a bunch of crap on you that you're like, how the hell did this happen to me? It's because that's what they do.
Yeah,
you know, that's what they do.
Yep. And now the federal government's caught on to it, right? And you've seen more people going to the feds than ever before. You know, people that used to do state time before are now doing federal time now. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's changed. You know what I mean? Like before, like some of these cases that people would get sentenced to the state time, whatever state they're in. You know what I mean? Now they're hitting them on federal cases. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and here in Chicago, the feds are picking up a lot of gun cases. So anybody with a gun case, instead of, like I said, going to prison in Illinois, they're being shipped to the feds.
Yeah. Hey, Pinky Hernandez, how's the weather over there, Flacco? All right, it's pretty good, Pinky.
Yeah. Great weather, brother.
Hey, how's the sell, Pinky? Is it pretty good?
How's the what?
I told him, how's that sell?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Is there any YouTube channels that discuss Chicago stuff or no? None yet.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them, like the G Shrimp Show. Several of them that talking about what's going on, you know, current day Chicago. Oh yeah.
Yeah. What about did Rhonda Strong did he just stop?
Who's that?
That one ex-Latin King guy.
What's his name? Because there's been a couple of them. What's his name?
I forgot what his name was, man. Someone's gonna comment right now, man.
Okay.
Who?
Rhonda Strong. I forgot what his name was.
Oh, over in Chicago?
Yeah, I forgot what his name was.
Tipsy Sucker Free. Yeah, there's still presence there.
Yeah, most definitely there is. All these towns. You know what I mean? There is there in Chi-Town and the mid. I don't know how that goes, man. I think there's. You know what I mean? I want to go check out. I want to go check out Chicago, man.
Yeah, you should
know?
come through.
You know what I mean?
Just
For
don't come
sure.
through now. It's too cold to come now, but come through in the spring or the summer, definitely.
Is it snowing out there right now?
No, it's not snowing yet, but it's cold as hell though.
The hawk blowing, the wind.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard Chicago had a cold ass wind, boy.
It does. That lake effect. Oh yeah, definitely.
JC Ronda Strong. That's who it is. JC.
JC. I think he's still around. I think I haven't heard anything. Yeah, he's still around.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, I've been on for an hour and a half, man. Thank you guys for coming on, man. I guess Rojo will be going on tonight, man. I appreciate everybody. I just wanted to BS with the people, and I mean, I like having positive conversations like this, man. So I'm glad that Mike from PNG News Media came on here, man. Support his channel, man. And then we got the homie Sundown, man.
Yeah, PNG News Media.
Yeah,
That's
PNG Media News. Yep,
Media
that's
News.
me.
Media News. All right, brother. Mike, I owe you one, brother.
All right, yeah, I'll catch up with you, bro. We'll do it again, no doubt.
All right.
All right, everybody have a positive day. I'll
All right.
later. All right.
God bless you guys.
Thanks.
All right, Regiment.